in the city manager's office. I'll be helping moderate some of the session today. So welcome to our fourth chat with the city manager. Today's focus is on Menifee's premier programming, which will include an update on community services. We will be hearing from, of course, our city manager, Armando G. Villa, as well as our community services director, Jonathan Nix. We do want you to feel free to ask questions. I'll be monitoring also questions on our YouTube channel. So first, thank you all to the community partners group for being here, the public, and all those watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. We do have some questions that have come in through via email, but we want to get through your questions as well. And before I hand it over to Armando and John, I do want to quickly introduce our staff that will also be here to answer any questions you may have. We have our police chief, Pat Walsh. We also have Daniel Padilla, our Deputy Public Works Director / City Engineer. We have our Assistant City Manager, Rochelle Clayton, our Community Development Director, Cheryl Kitzero, our City Clerk, Sarah Manwaring, our Economic Development Director, Gina Gonzalez, our Parks Manager, Bryce Howell, Community Services Manager, Mariana Mitchell, and our Financial Analyst, Giselle Sandoval. So welcome. And quick shout out to our IT team and Rivco TV for helping, and of course our Executive Assistant Mandy Stevens and Brianna Barundas, our social media specialist that will be helping with photos and social media. So thank you, and I will hand it over to John. Armando.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. So we're going to try to keep this presentation to almost a level of a conversation, because we do want to hear from you on how you feel the city's going. But before I start, I want to take a poll. How many of you think that I look better with a beard? Okay, so no beard? Okay, it's mixed, so we're going to keep it on. So thank you. I'm saving a lot of money on blades. So as you know, or many of you know, that we've had these types of chats with the residents. We've had 4. This will be our 4th chat with the residents. We've touched on several issues. The first issue was coming out of the pandemic and our financial condition. If you missed it, you can, if you're good with Google, we have it on YouTube. The second one was infrastructure investment. And then just recently, we did have one on economic development. So our team works really hard to make sure that we bring the right types of business to our town. And obviously, managing a city of 100,000 people, I don't do it all by myself. I have a really good team. They're all up there. They're all here to and are eager to listen to some of your concerns, and most of them are department directors that help the city evolve and deal with the growth issues and things like that. So with that, I want to thank you, all of you, for being here. I think this is the largest group that we've had since we started the chats with the city manager concept. And the idea behind the concept is to be able to hear from our community what issues are we not touching on. You know, we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort every year putting together budgets and administering permits and licenses and developing plans for future roads and parks. And one of the things that we realize we might be missing is getting in touch with the community more, so that we can hear on your concerns and issues with how the city is evolving. You know, we do spend a great deal of time publishing what we call Menifee Matters, and I'm hoping all of you get that. And we do spend a great deal of time and effort on social media, Facebook, Nextdoor, Twitter, Instagram, trying to put out information that some of the things that we do almost weekly. So, but we missed that element. We don't have that element of allowing the community to tell us things that we need to work on throughout the year. So the concept of chats with the city manager was designed specifically for that. We want to hear from you on things that we should be doing. So the subject of today's meeting is all the community services services that they offer to the community. Although some of you participate in some of the programs, we do have a great deal of other things that they do. They also, besides putting together community services and programming, they also maintain most of our parks all over the city. And we have been evolving in that respect. So as we approach the holidays, and we begin to see another 8 to 9 more programs before the end of the year, we are going to be getting a presentation from them on the upcoming events. And I do hope that you really let us know how you feel about how we're doing. And I do want to invite you to our next chat with the city manager, which will be November 17th. I know you're all writing. And the topic of the conversation will be community policing and our police department. And our police chief will be helping me with that. As you all know, our city took a very aggressive approach or the idea of creating our own police department back in 2020. So we went live July 1st, 2020, and we've been extremely busy. And we want to hear from you how we're doing too. So with that, I want to turn it over to our Community Services Director, Jonathan Nix, for a nice presentation, I hope. Thank you.
I hope. I'm glad for the confidence boost right there. Good morning, everyone. Jonathan Nix, Community Services Director. I know there's some familiar faces out there. Those who have not met, welcome, and thank you for coming down. I know this is normally our community partners meeting, so this is a special edition. We have our city manager here with all of our staff. So the plan for today is I'll provide some updates on what's going on with community services now, some things that are coming up, some things that are in development. Spend a few minutes on that. Then we definitely want to open it up for any questions regarding community services or any other questions you may have for our city manager or staff that are here. And then we'll spend the rest of the time, if any of the other nonprofit agencies or community partners here have updates they want to provide to the rest of the group, we still want to provide that opportunity as we usually do on our bi-monthly community partners updates. So with that, we will get into it. So I thought I could see that screen from that far, but my glasses aren't that great. So we have a lot of great community. Yeah, there you go. I will stand up. So we have a lot of great community programs going on. We have our skate park that's in full operation, Audie Murphy Ranch. We have a good mix of different programs there. We have a BMX day. We have a different day for skateboards and scooters, and definitely our rollerbladers as well. So those are the times and hours. Through the pandemic, we know that we had to close down a lot of things, but we never stopped here. We still provided a lot of virtual programs, but last few months, we're full back in action here at the KC Center. We have a lot of dance programs. Taekwondo is very popular. We have a lot of different programs and activities for the youth, for teenagers, for families. So please, 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 if you got that Menifee Matters, look through it. If you find anything of interest, give us a call, go on our website, sign up. There's plenty to do, plenty of programs. There's a lot of activity going on here in the city of Menifee. Also, a new challenge that we're issuing out is the city of Menifee, although a new city, we do not have a city flag yet. So I read on the internet, so it must be very true, that the United States flag was developed through a contest of kids. And so the current flag that we have was developed by a young man, and he actually got a D on it from his teacher. But once it was selected to be our Stars and Stripes, then the teacher turned into an A. So same concept, same concept. We're issuing out a challenge to all the folks in Menifee. The challenge is going through November 19th. Go to our website. There's an online application. We have different categories for different skill levels and age groups, so we'll be judging that. So there'll be online judging for the flag designs, and it's going to go to our Parks Commission. Heads up, Dave, that's coming to you pretty soon. And then from there, going to our city council for the final flag design. So very exciting, kind of a new fun thing that we're going to be doing in the city. Look out for that. This walkie-talkie thing, it kind of works. Okay, so programs right here. We're at the KC Center. This is where we primarily provide a lot of our senior programming. Maybe some of you come here for the lunch program. We're going to be offering, right now we have the pick up and go lunches, and we've been doing that for quite a while. Mariana, how many lunches have we served from when the pandemic started, March till now? Add it up in your head.
138,701.
138,701. That's amazing. A very precise number. I appreciate that. She didn't just say 138, she said 701, just in case you didn't catch that. So fantastic. We want to make sure that all seniors had food if they needed it, and also having food available for anyone in the community that needed it, and we're still providing that. We are going to be switching over to having meals in person again very soon. Our food service provider, Family Service Association, they're still figuring out, trying to make sure they have enough cooks and all that stuff available to have meals here again in the senior center. So that's coming very, very soon. We have a lot of programs here for the seniors. We have walking clubs. Here's our different schedule: fitness, card games, different activities are going on a daily basis. So please come down for that. We also have a lot of services available for our more mature adults. We have utility assistance here on Monday. So if you're maybe behind on some of your utilities, come on down, see if you qualify for any assistance. We have a bereavement support group here, and we have a community access center here every third Thursdays. We also have a computer lab that's back open, and on Thursdays we also have partners from the county that come down here. If anyone's looking for a job, we have a job assistance center here as well. So please come on down, visit our website. We have a lot of great things here to offer in person again. Also, events, as Armando mentioned, we had, I don't know if you guys recall, remember like June 15th, they said, oh, hey, everything's open, go ahead, have a bunch of events. So June 18th, we started having events June 18th through the entire summer. We had 11 events. We had concerts, we had our Independence celebration at Wheatfield Park, we had summer movies, so we had a lot of things, and we're not stopping. There's a lot of things going on in the fall. So coming up really soon is the Fall Festival. That's Saturday, October 23rd. It's kind of a Halloween type thing, family event. We'll have our kind of a candy available for the kids, games, prizes, things like that. That's happening at Mount San Jacinto College. So if you can make it in a couple weeks, please come on down. We love doing that event. The next week we have Dia de los Muertos on Saturday, October 29th. I hope I said that right, Armando. At Central Park. Correct my Spanish. So that's down at Central Park. So celebrating that Day of Dead. Also kind of a different ethnic theme event. So please come down if you're available for that one. Following right after that, we definitely are a very proud veteran community here at Menifee, so we provide this ceremony every single year, Veterans Day celebration on Veterans Day, Thursday, November 11th at 10 a.m. over at Wheatfield Park at the Veterans Monument. So if you're available, if you're a veteran, please come on down. We'd love to honor you on that day. Also, because we just don't stop, we have an event that weekend, bulky item drop-off event. What that means is if you have any items that you want to dispose of from your home, if you have like, a bunch of boxes or large items that you want to dispose of, please come on down. We're having that at the SCCA, the Sun Civics Association. That's Saturday, November 13th. Our department actually oversees the waste management services contract for the city. So if you have any issues with your disposal services, also contact us. And also, I want to mention, if you cannot make that date on November 13th, our new contract with Waste Management offers every resident in the city 4 bulky item pickups. So they'll come to your house and pick up something. So if you have an old couch, refrigerator, things like that that are too large to throw away, or it's too large for you to bring to the event, just call them up. They'll come to you. And so that is every year, 4 times a year. I don't have that much stuff, but if you do, hey, do you? Yes, sir.
Is there a cost on that?
No, that is included with your waste services that you already pay. Yes, sir.
Also, if they don't pick up car bumpers?
Car bumpers, I would call on that one. That's a little, oh, they did? They don't? Okay.
Some things they don't pick up.
Okay, that's very good to know.
I'll find out.
Yeah, so definitely, thank you, sir, for making that comment. If there's something where you're not sure if they'll pick it up, give them a call and verify. So thank you for making that comment. Yes, sir.
Well, I just want to get back to that fall festival. Is that a costume thing or not?
You may wear a costume. There are kids there. Make sure it's appropriate.
I know they've had them in the past and it was costumes.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm still deciding on my costume. My daughter, who is 10, wants to be Pennywise from the movie It. Yeah, I don't know. Where. Oh, yes. Also, is there a microphone floating around? We want to make sure we capture questions on the microphone so those streaming at home can also hear the question. If not, then I will try to repeat the question and the answer. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a question. On the Veterans Day celebration, are they going to be putting up the flag respecting flag, dedication to the flag.
Yes, so we have the veterans banners, is that what you're talking about, along the streets? So if you turn in an application for that, we try to put those up as long as we have enough time before the Veterans Day ceremony.
Oh, okay, yeah, because the National Cemetery is not putting up any flags for the veterans.
Oh, interesting, okay. Oh, I see, they're trying to reduce, yeah, yeah. My dad's buried there at the National Cemetery, yeah. Okay, very good question. Yes, sir, we're getting a lot of questions. Anybody else? Give this gentleman a second.
This is a question about anything, right?
You may, yes.
I
Well, it
want to
depends.
make- I want to make sure,
Okay,
because I sent something in email.
okay.
I'm with the Community Access Center,
Oh, yes.
the
yes.
Community Access and Disability Center, okay? And I've been trying very hard to get representation here in Menifee. And we keep getting put off, you know. Nobody gonna come. Nobody care. I keep hearing that. And finally, in Menifee Matters, they put something in there about senior low vision kit. I hope that's not the only time they advertise, because that's our biggest problem, is getting out to the people, letting them know what we have here. One blurb is not going to work. Now, I push for 4 hours a week, and I ended up at maybe 4 hours a month, because your staff keeps telling us that the people don't respond. My opinion is different, because if the people don't know, they're not going to respond. You know, so for instance, the family food thing that you got going here, that's in the paper every week. Every week they got something. Oh, come get your food, you know, but nothing else is constant. So other than that, other than the disabled people being ignored in this community, we're very happy with Menifee. I'm very happy with the city of Menifee. I voted to make it a city back in '89, I think it was. I forgot when. So I've been here 32 years. So. But anyway, we're very happy with what's going on. We have no complaints. I have no complaints, except for that one thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. And as Mr. Villa mentioned, that is the reason we're trying to do these community outreach meetings, so we can get to the public, hear these things, get this feedback, and see how we can improve. So definitely it's good here. Definitely I'll have Mariana Mitchell, our Community Services Manager, connect with you at the end of the chat to see what we can do. One challenge we're having currently, it's kind of a good challenge, is that we're, and I'll get to a little bit later, we're renovating Lazy Creek Recreation Center right now. So that's totally under construction. We're still on schedule, still under budget, right, Bryce? So all the kids that usually go to Lazy Creek, they're all here. And so we're kind of double occupied here. So right now we have a temporary limitation on how many programs we can fit in here, but definitely come into the new year, we'll have some more capacity to add some more programs. But definitely appreciate you coming down, providing that feedback to us so we can do better. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My name's Rebecca Stewart Wilson. I'm with the Veterans Resource Committee here in Menifee. Some of you may have received an email from me asking for names of veterans so that the city of Menifee can honor them on November the 11th. So at the end of the meeting, if you want to add someone to the list, because I do need to turn it in this week, please come see me afterwards so I can get your name and number and I can make contact with the veteran so that they can be honored on that day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Very timely. Thank you. Also, going back to... Yes, we're looking for Menifee veterans, correct?
Yes, I understand the city of Menifee encompasses a lot of cities. So the cities around Menifee, Temecula, Marietta, anyone, sons, daughters who have been in the service that live within any of those boundaries, Paris, contact me.
Very good. Thank you.
What's Homeland? Homeland's covered? Homeland.
Yes, yes.
Very good. Thank you. Also coming up after the Veterans Day and the bulk item drop-off, we have a Trot for the Cause event. So that's a fundraising event. It's going to be really fun for the kids. That's on Saturday, November 20th, 7 a.m., Central Park. Wear some warm clothes. It'll probably be chilly, but you'll be able to trot it off. Okay, and then we have our Christmas tree lighting ceremony. It is Saturday, December 4th at MSJC again from 4 to 8 p.m. We will have snow there. We will have slides. We're going to have a little Christmas parade. We'll have a bazaar of different holiday-themed vendors. So if you're a late Christmas shopper like me, December 4th, you will get it all done. That's what I'm planning to do. And then we also have breakfast with Santa from 8 to 11. That is the next Saturday. We are really busy every single Saturday. My wife tells me every time this time of year, why are you so busy? I'm like, because we're providing great service to the community. So Saturday, December 11th, here at the KC Center, please sign up in advance. It fills up. We always have a great performance from the youth choir and all that stuff. And usually we have a very good breakfast that morning. So those are our events through the end of the calendar year. And if you can't write all that down, please visit our website. We have an events tab. You'll see it all there with all the information. Parks in progress. Yes, ma'am.
Ramona with the Menifee Valley Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome.
You know, we're all excited to have the Fairfield. There's a ribbon cutting next week. Here's the flyer right here. It's at 1 p.m. and you'll actually get to see the hotel too. So come on out. It is Tuesday, October 19th.
Fantastic. Too much good stuff in Menifee happening.
Yep.
Fantastic for bringing that up. Thank you. Also, as Mr. Villa mentioned, we all oversee the city parks in Menifee, and we're building a lot of new parks in Menifee. It's fantastic. It's exciting. It's very much needed. So we have 5 parks that are coming within the next 12 months, so within the next year. So here's just a map of where those are. We have Talavera and Underwood Parks, number 1 and 2. Those are being built by KB Homes with those housing developments. We have Remington Park that's being built by Lennar with that housing development. And then I'm going to go to another slide where it's going to have a little more detail on these parks. Sunset Park, that is the very last park that's being built in Audie Murphy Ranch. So complete the 5 very nice parks in that area. And then the city, we have some property way down here, number 5, across the street from Paloma High School. It's a property that the city owns, and we're developing that into a pump track. Who knows what a pump track is? Don't raise your hand, Bryce. Raven, what's a pump track?
It's one of those tracks where kids can ride their bikes and it has little, I know Temecula has one, my son used to go there.
Very good. I'm glad you brought up Temecula. This one will be twice the size of Temecula's pump track. It's not a competition. It's just a fact. And you may have seen the pump track. It was actually featured in the Olympics where, as Raven mentioned, it's called pump track because you're not actually pedaling. You're just kind of pumping and going along with the asphalt there. And it's also going to be expanded to a nice 6-acre trail around that area. So you can not only do the pump track, but you can also ride your bike and go around that trail. So that'd be a really nice park. We're working on that. Bryce is working very hard to finish that project. So we have all these nice new parks coming soon here in the city of Menifee. So we also are doing a lot of refreshes and a lot of projects. Shade structures, Bryce has done a very good job putting shade over the bleachers, putting shade over the playgrounds. You've probably seen a lot of that in the last year being done, so we've completed a lot of those projects, or Bryce has completed a lot of those projects. There was a question that came through about, hey, we don't have enough lights on the sports fields. Well, Centennial Park, right after off of Holland Road and the Centennial housing development, we just completed lights. So there's 2 lighted baseball fields and a multi-purpose, could be soccer, could be lacrosse, could be football field there. So that is now available for all the youth groups to use, or adult groups if any of you guys participate in there. Pump track, that is in design and environmental, it's in progress. Lazy Creek, as I mentioned, right down the street here on Evans, that is under construction. So that is an expansion of the current center. So the county used to operate it as a youth center. It was about 1,800 square feet. We're renovating the current building and we're adding another 2,400 square foot building. So more than doubling the size capacity. Our youth programs, from tiny tots to after school to teenage programs, there's a big, long waiting list. So we wanted to make sure that we developed that and expanded it. And coming in, we have the mayor of Menifee, Bill Zimmerman. Big round of applause. Hey, Bill. And then also we have, continuing with our park amenities, we're going through all the former county parks that we now adopted, and we're adding things. We added a playground at Lyle Marsh, all inclusive, available for anyone with all kinds of abilities. We're also putting a new permanent restroom there to make that really nice. It's right down the street on Bradley next to Chester Morrison. Yes, sir. Microphone. Sorry, Jonathan. Mito kayo.
Yeah, when I was living in Orange County, each city had a 3-par course. Are we going to develop a 3-par course here?
3-par golf course?
Mhm.
Under consideration. Thank you. I'm from Orange County too. I moved here. I love it here. So thank you for
You
joining
remember
me.
Cerritos?
Oh, Cerritos. Yeah, I grew up in Norwalk. Yeah. So, yeah. Debbie. Oh, you're making Jonathan run. The other Jonathan. That's the Jonathan that does all the work right there. Yeah.
We're going to that side next, okay?
Okay.
In regards to the parks for soccer and your fields,
Yes, ma'am.
you guys need to put your tennis shoes on and run them, and then actually see how much maintenance needs to be done on them. Your Centennial Park, it's really hard to run on. It's really hard to play soccer on. You need to actually run the park instead of just look at them, and then you can figure out the maintenance needs to be done on them.
Bryce, you have some running to do. Okay, you got that? No, definitely, we appreciate the comments on that. If there's anything that we need to improve or could do better, definitely appreciate all the feedback. Thank you, Debbie. Anything else on capital projects? Okay, very good. I'm almost done. Then you can ask this guy all kinds of questions. So what's next for community services? What's coming up? Well, kind of along the lines of, what can we do with our parks, the parks development, should there be what he said. Yeah, there you go. We did a master plan in the city of Menifee for all of our parks, trails, open space, and recreation about 5 years ago, back in 2016. The city council gave us direction to look at it again, because as mentioned, a lot of new people have moved into town. A lot of new things have developed. There's like a pump track, like a pickleball court, different amenities, like all-inclusive playgrounds, things for people of all abilities. So we're refreshing this master plan. So pretty soon we're going to be reaching out to all of you to provide us additional feedback on what we can do better or what we're missing in the city. Although we're developing a lot and building a lot, there's still more that could be done. So we definitely appreciate any feedback. We'll be providing some information out to the community on how you can provide that feedback, whether it be community meetings like this, online surveys, or just emailing your comments in. So we'll be reaching out to you pretty soon regarding that master plan. Also, this is great that we have all of our community partners here. What we're working on too is expanding that partnership and that strength that we have here in the city with all of our nonprofit agencies. How can we work better together to provide services, to provide programs? How can we work with the schools to utilize some of their facilities? We're building Laser Creek, we're building these parks, but there's brand new Liberty High, Paloma's building some pools. Can we use those for community use as well? So that's an active conversation we're having with Parish Union High School and all the other different schools. Yes, sir. Question.
It's not a question, really. I'm just wondering, are you providing any outlet for volunteers to help you?
Absolutely. If you want to volunteer, connect with Mariana Mitchell. We have a lot of things that we need help with.
That's why I want to find out if you have. I may not volunteer, but other people may. I want to help them with the disability thing.
Yes.
I want to help them with that. I wanted to volunteer for that too. I wanted to come up for 4 hours every week and help them, but it fell by the wayside.
Definitely, we'll be following up that, but very good point. That is the purpose of the joint use, MOUs, partnerships. How can everyone get involved to make the city better? That's what we'll be working on over the next year. Expansion of our cultural arts programming. We want to make sure that we're providing programs of different nature, not just the same programs that we're providing. And also looking at, as we're developing that amphitheater, what kind of cultural arts programs could we have there at Central Park? Also, fun thing, education outreach on our waste reduction and recycling. There's some new laws from the state. I want to make it clear, this is laws from the state. Mayor, I gotcha, not the city laws. And they're putting that out statewide on what we need to do to make sure that we're environmentally friendly. So we'll be reaching out to people just to educate you. And then also, so things like the 4 bulky item pickup, that you're fully using your waste services. So we'll be doing a lot of that in the next year. And if you have any questions or you want any more information on those things that because I know I talk very fast. Please call us, please email us, please come into the office or attend one of these meetings and let us know. If you have questions, if you have any comments or feedbacks on how we can do better, please let us know. And from there, I will turn it back over to our City Manager Armando Villa for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Nice. So as you can see, our Community Services Department is really busy, and one of the things that was challenging is coming out of the pandemic is to try to put together these programs with the uncertainty of the pandemic and the COVID-19. But I think I'm glad that we're coming out of that, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to do to protect themselves. And we did have a lot of requirements and stipulations about putting people together. And even in this facility here, you know, we couldn't have too many people gather. And I know it frustrated the heck out of a lot of people not being able to get out. But we are very conscious about making sure that when we put out a program that is safe for you to attend, to come out. And as you can see, we're spending a heck of a lot of time too on trying to invest in our community by developing parks and developing more programming, and hopefully the Lazy Creek project, which we started 2 years ago, is finished early next year so that we can program more senior type of activities here in this facility here, because we're using it too much, I think. And again, I want to remind you, the purpose of these meetings is to be able to not just talk about the subject matter today, but to talk about other issues that you may have that that we need to know about. Anything with regards to parks, police, community services, infrastructure, traffic, and what have you. So what I'd like to do is open the floor to you guys for you guys to let us know how we're doing, what else do we need to do, and I see a hand up there.
Thank you, Mr. Villa, and the rest of the staff and in Menifee here. My name is Cliff Lands. I live off of Marietta Road. I hear that they're going to be finishing that up maybe by the end of this month. I don't know. But I do know that the wonderful bike trail, which I utilize almost regularly, which goes, I guess, to Getz and to Antelope, now with the drying out of these tumbleweed, which has now been blown onto that bike path, more than one occasion I had to get off my bike and try to move that big heavy tumbleweed. Just letting you know that maybe the crew could come down there and clean up the dead ones. And the other issue, which I call the city pretty regularly, is the lack of bike paths feeding off of the bike lane, whether it's obviously Marietta Road, Bradley, Antelope, where there may be a bike lane that starts north and then it just kind of fades out, and then it may start up again, mostly close to Salt Creek. And I've taken pictures and I've shown you, and I got more pictures, and they're just a lot of unsafe conditions for anyone, a pedestrian or a bicycle rider, and that's pretty much it. And
and just in response to that, so yes, fantastic amenity, Salt Creek Trail expanding from Getz to Antelope Road. That is a county facility, but I just had a meeting with the county parks director last week on how maybe the city can help with some of those maintenance issues. We do report those to them once you guys send them over to us, but we're seeing that they're stretched pretty thin, and we really appreciate that they did that. Very nice project to have that nice trail through the city, but we're looking at that and saying, well, how can we help you guys out? Because we know that there's a maintenance concerns there.
one more thing I forgot to mention.
Your time's up. No.
Sorry.
'Cause-
Yeah, I've had a couple of incidences, and I wasn't even riding my bike, primarily with the 10-speeders. They think they don't have to slow down. We have pedestrians, we have people walking dogs, we have people with kids on bicycles, I have an e-bike. I don't know how they can work it where they have a speed limit, or it's too bad they don't have 3 lanes, one for those that want to haul ass, and the rest that are casual users of the bike lane, because there are, like I said, we have pedestrians, we have dog walkers, we have people with kids on bikes, and then we have these 10-speed. So I had pulled to the side, allow my dog to relieve himself, and this guy hit right into me. I don't know if he didn't see me there or what, but I was off to the side. So I don't know what they can do about that. Posting, is it a speed limit for bicycles? I don't know.
So that would be a good idea, but I'm going to turn it over to the chief over there because I know that we do police that area, and I think we have 2 officers that are out there today on bikes, right?
We do, actually. Are you talking about the bike path, or are you talking about Marietta Road?
Yeah, the bike paths, yeah. The one is the new one that they put in that goes parallel to Salt Creek.
Well, so my motorcycle officers, I tell them so those of you that live on that path, it's not dirt bikes, well, it might be, but if you hear a motorcycle, a lot of times it might be our officers. But we're trying to get onto that path at least a couple times a day. As far as, bicycle etiquette, I don't know how we would put a sign there to say how fast you should go. You should just probably, yield to the person, whoever's going slowest to the right. I don't know why somebody would run into the back of you. Maybe we should check them out for drunk driving. I don't know.
I think, Debbie, you had another question? Okay. Oh, this lady right here.
I wanted to ask about this substation in Sun City, that it's closed now, if it will be opened up again, because I think it's very necessary. We have a lot of homeless, and it's very uncomfortable to shop in that shopping center at all. I don't. I go to the post office and the bank. But just this weekend, well, it was Monday, I saw 2 just going to the post office, and one sleeping in front of the building behind Vaughn's, just on that front porch area there with all of his stuff. And then around the corner, as I was leaving the post office, there was somebody else just outside the door with a sign, wanting money. And it just feels unsafe.
So a couple things. We are running out of space, so we moved our traffic division to the substation. That doesn't mean they're there. They're out on their motorcycles, hopefully, taking care of traffic enforcement. We do have, we've been going back and forth with COVID. We were going to open that with volunteers. We have 10 now. We're going to do another academy soon. But we're there. As far as the homeless, I would say it's a lot better now than it was, but it's an ongoing issue. It's here's the problem with Sun City when it comes to homeless. There are family members that have grandkids and kids that are homeless, mentally ill, addicted, and so their base of operation is there. They can go home, get a meal, get a shower, and then they're back out. The other issue is, and it's the biggest issue, is that the retired community is very generous and they hand money to the homeless. So why wouldn't they be there if they're going to get, legitimately $100 to $200 cash a day is not a bad day for a homeless person asking for money. So we need to, as a city, come together and decide we're not going to do that. If they need services, there is a ton of services for the homeless right now. And so that $20 should go to the food pantry or to, other nonprofits that can help them. But if you see homeless, like you're saying, you call and tell us, because it's not appropriate to panhandle. We have an ordinance against that. And it's not okay to sleep in a public area like that, and we will address that. Lastly, I'll say to you, the City Council approved an additional officer, and we have selected her. We just got her truck squared away last week. We're going to put a homeless liaison officer full-time. That's all she's going to do. And she'll work with behavioral health, she'll work with nonprofits, she will, housing, drug addiction, mental health. She's going to pour those resources at these folks. If they don't want the resources, then they can go somewhere else. That's my philosophy until I'm no longer the police chief. If you don't want the help, then go to another city, because we're trying to help you. You need to help yourself.
My name is Aurora Payad Arnold. I am the widow, sister, aunt, and sister-in-law of veterans from the Air Force, Navy, and Army. And I have lived here since 2010 when I moved from Temecula. My major concerns are about infrastructure, about street maintenance. I go to Cherry Hills every day, and my concern is when it rains, Cherry Hills and Bradley are always flooded. And the next major concern is I have noticed that your street maintenance means repaving existing streets. But there, the road between Garbani Road between Bradley and Hone Road is still a dirt road. So is something planned for that portion of Garbani?
So Daniel, want to address that? I can. Okay. So we have, this year, the city council took a very aggressive approach to capital project and street paving. So we're investing about $26 million into infrastructure. So we will be coming back to the city council to reconsider the paving of all the streets, because we have a lot of streets that need to be repaved, and there's not enough money to do them all in 1 year. So we have to program them every 5 years. But one thing that we do is we have good news on the Bradley Bridge over the Salt Creek. We have put that on sort of a speed dial now that we have support from our congressman. He supported a grant of $5 million, and that's going to complete the funding that we need to build that bridge. So hopefully here next year, our engineering department is going to be putting together all the things that we need to begin construction of that bridge. It takes a while to build that type of facility, probably 2 to 3 years before we have it opened. So anyways, so we are very conscious about our deficiencies, some of our roads. Keep in mind that we are a young city of only 13 years old. Before that, the county was maintaining most of the roads, and they weren't as diligent as we would wanted them to be. So we are trying to catch up really fast.
How about Garbani?
Garbani Road?
Between Bradley and Hone Roads. Dirt road and sometimes so difficult to
Is that paved?
navigate it.
It's dirt road.
At the end of Bradley, you make a left on Garbani and it ends at Hone Road.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a dirt road, yeah.
So, good morning. My name is Daniel Padilla, city engineer. And we have had a few privately funded or development projects in that area of Garbani. So that stretch of Garbani, it will be challenging with the curves in the terrain. Like I mentioned, there's privately funded projects there, and then the city has started the preliminary design of the Garbani overpass, but that's in its preliminary stages.
But that's farther away from Bradley to Hone Road.
Bradley to Hahn, that would be, east of the overpass and no?
No, it's too
West.
far away.
So I've been with the city for 3 months, so I apologize for that. It's
You go to Bradley
on the
Grove State, at the end
215.
of it, you make a left on Garbani and it ends at Hone Road.
Right, so I think I know where it is, and I think that it's a dirt road, and it's very challenging topographically in dirt roads. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take your comments, and we're gonna make sure we plug them into that formula and future CIP projects. It's not, right now, I don't think I remember seeing it in any list, but it's good to know.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. Ma'am, did you have a comment? Okay, thank you. For Salt Creek Trail, are you going to put in any parking lots for Bradley or Marietta Road? Because for walkers, it's not safe to get over there. It's inconvenient.
Yeah, that is actually in our CIP list to look at parking. That's a request we received. That's one of the goals that the city council set for us to look at that. It's great that the county built the trail, but we do know that a lot of people aren't just biking to it. They're parking, getting off, because, it is a 4-mile stretch. That's quite a bit of exercise. So we are looking at different options where we can have some parking and staging areas for people. Yes. Oh, ma'am, did you have a comment first? Okay. Do you mind if she goes first? Thank you.
Yes, I'm also from Sun City. I think I can talk just as loud. I'm also from Sun City. Oh, and I live in Sun City, and we really have problems there. Not only do you have underage, but they are running the streets and stealing from people. It is, I live on a main street, and you can hear them at night racing up and down the streets. And I know the police are doing an awesome job, but we need more help out there. We have underage people who we cannot get out of there. The Sun City Civic Association, they will, what you do is you fill out a complaint. This has been going on for 1 year, that these people are supposed to be evicted, and they still are not doing anything. You can't even get into the association to talk to anybody. They only want things written down. And that absolutely gets us nowhere. The people are afraid there, and it's not right to be able to live in your own community and not be fearful.
That's going to be a very tricky question because, the city does not control the CCNRs in the Sun Civic Association bylaws. We are very aware of that issue, and I think our police department fields calls to deal with that. Chief, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, so there's two things. As far as the driving, there are, for lack of a better term, there are a bunch of organizations, that I use that term loosely, that actually go out and race, and our city's not the only one. And I hear them because I live at Antelope and Newport, and they'll get off the freeway, meet up, and then they race down Newport to Dominigoni, and then they're out of our city. So I hear it every night too. So we, if we can, so we're starting to stagger our motorcycle officers because they're a little more adept at chasing people like that and catching them. So we're working on that. But Mccall and Bradley and actually Valley are really bad for that. As far as the underage and the association, so we have what's called a problem-oriented policing POP team, and they work very closely with the associations. And we have, about a month ago, we brought 25 police officers from all over the county to Menifee to do what's called compliance checks on parolees. And I think we arrested 22 people in that day. So the problem is that they don't stay in jail in California. And so, but we do a lot of compliance checking in Sun City because, again, they're living with mom and they shouldn't be. So we don't have any say, like the city manager said, over neighborhood CCNRs, but we strongly suggest that they drop the boom and do their job, if that helps.
Who drops the boom?
The association, they have, parking rules and age limits and those things. If they let it slip, then they've kind of created a situation where now they have to get tougher.
It's so out of control.
Yeah.
But I live on Pebble Beach, and that is a nice street for them to race up and down. We have one family who has 2 boys that are in it. The only time they're gone is when they're in prison. But now they're not doing the prisons anymore, and they're always there causing havoc. They raise havoc with the parents too, beating them up, and there's nothing we can do.
Well, there is something you do, and here's what I'll tell you. So as a former investigator, when I have a neighbor says, I'm seeing X, Y, and Z, then I can say in my investigation, I spoke to a neighbor, we don't out you, and the neighbor's seeing this kind of activity, and this kind of activity is indicative of narcotics, sales or whatever it is.
All of it.
And when we present that to a judge, they'll say, well, if neighbors are seeing that, that's a livability issue, and they'll help us and they'll issue us a search warrant. And we've done quite a bit of that. And so when we're done here, I'll give you my card and I'll put you in contact with our POP team.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I'm Felix Gonzalez, and I reside in Sun City, California. I was an operating engineer for 35 years. I appreciate you coming out and sharing allowing the people to have their input. All of you guys are good workers, man. But the question I have is 3 of them, okay? One starts with Marietta Road, okay? I was operating engineer long time, and I know it don't take that long to run a pipeline. If they're waiting for the rains, you know, it's going to be a long time before that road is open, you know. If there's anything the cities could do about it, have them pull off their equipment until after the rains, you know, so that the roads could be open, you know, because it's a grave difficulty for the people to go all the ways around, and it's a waste of fuel too. The second part is, the city said 10 years ago that Sun City would be exempt from school taxes, okay, and that hasn't come yet. I was wondering how much longer that's going to be. And the third part is the city going to stand behind the parents when it comes to contending with the school boards about teaching the kids immoral acts?
Explain, what do you mean?
The school's going to be teaching the kids how to masturbate and other social stuff like that. And the parents don't want it, but the school board says, tough. If you report it, then we're going to report you to the FBI and the IRS. So I want to know where you guys stand on it.
So you asked 3 questions. One is, I'm going to defer to the city engineer for that. Marietta comment.
Thank you, Armando. So the project you mentioned on Marietta, that's a project that Eastern Municipal Water District is working on. So, you know, there's, I guess the city has limited control on what we can require. We do approve traffic control plans, so we're involved with that. The Public Works Director and myself are relatively new, so we're trying to strengthen and improve our relationship with them and get involved in the projects as soon as possible so we can try to mitigate traffic control, you know, on future projects. On this project, we did approve the traffic control from where they're at now up to a couple hundred feet short, or see if I can get my cardinal direction right this time. Just north of Newport Road. They're going to be working in that segment very soon. And then they will be going into Newport Road. That work will be at night. But I do understand your concerns with them, you know, moving a little more quickly. We've had those same concerns and said, you know, why did you provide the contractor so many working days? You know, on our city CIP projects, we try to estimate the working days that contractor needs so they can get in and out as soon as possible and minimize the public inconvenience. But in this case, like I mentioned, it's Eastern Municipal Water District's project, and we don't have control of some of those factors.
But we do have control of the streets because our taxpayers pay for them streets and access to the streets. I built freeways, I built highways, I built the I-15 when it was Temescal Canyon Road. I worked with Jaeger Construction, Kiwi Pacific, and even if you take for an example the pipeline that went down Mccall, it didn't take that long. And when you drive by the job site, there's nobody there. There's no work going on or anything.
Yes.
They should remove their equipment and open the road until they're ready to work.
No, I appreciate your feedback. I definitely, I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. We've had those same concerns. Again, it goes back to Eastern providing them a lot more working days that's needed to do the job, and the contractor is not, you know, actively making progress on the project. So we've seen that, and we're working on ways to collaborate better with Eastern, and we'll definitely consider your input and seeing what we can do to, as far as traffic control, if they're not working out there, take up and take down the traffic control, every day instead of just leaving it permanently. There's pros and cons to that, because once traffic control is set up, the drivers, motorists, pedestrians, they get accustomed to their traffic control and they kind of adapt, as opposed to having traffic control go down and come up every day. So there are pros and cons to that, but I definitely, value, and I'm listening to what you're saying, and it's very true. So we gotta, work with Eastern and find the best solution.
Allow me to give you a short story. Okay, we were working Pacific Palisades by Hollywood, LA, okay? This is the strength of the city, okay? You do not start your equipment before 7 o'clock in the morning, okay? Anyways, this one guy got there at 6:30. He started up his equipment, and I told him, hey, the city's gonna get you. And he says, nah. And he just kept on working, right?
Okay.
20 minutes later, police officers were out there, handcuffed him, took him in. Guess what? Pacific Palisades, Hollywood, stuff like that, they have a strong city that'll back up the people, okay? They don't want to hear that noise before 7 o'clock in the morning. And if they do, it's a criminal offense. Now it's time that we, this city, started getting their cojones together, and say, hey, we don't want that, okay? If you don't have people working there in the street, doing the physical work, move your equipment out of the way and relieve access for the people.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and like I mentioned, we do have, when it's a city CIP project, we do have a little more strength to be able to do that, and we're working with Eastern Municipal to get there.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand your concerns, and we're working on it.
So I'm gonna communicate with the general manager and let him know that the community has concerns over the scheduling. So thank you for that comment.
Yeah.
Add to that, the sign on Murrieta says the detour will end on October 15. It was supposed to have ended on September 30, so they moved it to October 15, and they haven't changed the date yet, so they probably end in 2 days' time.
Nobody's working on the site.
Yeah. No, we will make those comments.
You know it.
I never see anybody out there.
No, they just have the road blocked.
Thank you, we will. You had two more questions. One, we will research. If we can get your contact information or get you that information about taxes. And then the last question you asked is a tricky question. We try as a city not to get involved in the school districts, the way they educate the kids, just as they try not to get involved in how we govern our city. So that is a question that probably you need to be asking the school board and the school superintendent.
What I was asking you, the city, okay, are they gonna be behind the parents?
I don't know.
Are they gonna support the parents?
I am.
Because it's gonna be a bear.
Can I comment on that one?
If the parents come home and their child is there masturbating and what are you doing? I'm doing homework.
I would like to comment on that. That is not a true statement. The school district is not teaching that kind of thing. If you want the curriculum.
My daughter works for the school district.
You may have a copy of the curriculum. They will let you read the whole curriculum so you can see what they're teaching in the school. But the curriculum is available to read beginning to end, so you can see exactly what's going on in the school district, and they will be glad to talk to you. I have a couple other questions. I would just like an update on Holland Road, an update on the theater, and one comment for the Central Park. I think we should have a sign that tells you where to go when you get close to the Central Park, because there's no real sign there. So those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay. Daniel, you feel comfortable with Holland?
A portion of Holland, and then I'll let you maybe finish it off, Armando. Holland Road, we are in the process of selecting our construction manager. that will provide construction management and construction inspection services on the Holland Road overpass. And that's been my involvement. And Armando, I don't know if you want to talk about the timing or other
Sure.
issues with it as well.
So the biggest challenge with projects this big is funding, and putting together the funding for this project was a bit challenging because it comes from different pockets of money. We've been working for the past 9 months on trying to square that away. A lot of it is regional monies, funding sources. A lot of it is city money. And this year, during the budget process, we did ask the council to approve a big portion of some of our funding from the city to go towards that. And then we work with our region planning agency, the WRCOG, Western Riverside Council of Governments, which they collect transportation funds to allow us to get a greater share of those transportation dollars. And they just did. Just a couple of weeks ago, they approved roughly about $9 million worth of funding. So with that, we have fully funding allocation to be able to go out to bid on the project. So, but there's a lot of steps in the process. First, you got to go and finish the design and get all the environmental work, and then get a construction manager. But our schedule indicates that we're going to be under construction probably next summer, July, August, and that project will take about 12 to 18 months to complete. So we're looking at 2023 to 24 to complete it. But it is fully funded, and our engineering department is working on that. So it will happen. The other question is, Gina, I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing some of your conversations with the Krikorian Theater developer? Yeah.
Thank you, Armando. Well, Krikorian has been working during COVID on the last remaining tenants that he has for his site. And actually, I just got the very last one yesterday for another creamery. But during COVID, I'm not sure if you guys were aware, but funding was pulled. It started on the East Coast, and you kind of saw it trickle across the U.S. And during COVID, one of his PACE lenders was pulled out from underneath him, and it ricocheted his whole lending packet. So he worked, feverishly on getting his PACE lender back, a different one. And when he got that, then he was working on his main loan. His main loan, he did secure a lender for that. However, during that time, as you probably have read in the paper, if you're not, you can Google it. But there is kind of this war between the movie studios and theaters and actors right now. And a lot of it has to do with cable companies putting on movies that are coming out or being featured, and you can see them at home on your cable network. And it's cutting about 40% of their revenue into theaters right now. And so it's ugly. So believe it or not, banks are watching that, and they're wondering what's happening in the market overall for them to release, if it's $15 to $30 million. That's not a small chunk of change. So that is kind of what's happening right now, and he is hopeful that the banks are going to give him the green light to move forward. And he's been very committed. He's spent $14 million of his own cash on the land, so he's highly invested. Imagine going forward full speed and then getting the rug pulled out from underneath you. Lending for commercial is very different than residential lending. And he has stated that he wants to come to the city council on October 20th and kind of give an update. So that's in the future. Hopefully that answers it.
How many of you still want to see a movie theater in the city? Show of hands.
I do.
So when we speak to him, if he comes on the 20th, we will share that enthusiasm and encouragement.
I'd appreciate it.
And Debbie, I think that was it, right? For your questions? Okay.
Excuse me, please.
Oh, there.
My name is Ruth Goulet. I live in Sun City, and I have 3 questions. Well, I started with 3 questions, only 2 now. Anything you can do for Menifee up there with Eastern Municipal, that's been going on for a year now, and we're down to 1 lane. There's no excuse for this because they aren't there. But my other 2 questions involve the city, particularly what, if anything, and what can you suggest to us that the city is doing concerning Senate Bill 9, that is the governor's destruction of single-family zoning. I understand that there is now, investors can put anything, can put a great deal of construction on property, on our property, on their property, without anything having, there is no zoning for single family anymore. Therefore, the older lots around here, and particularly Sun City, the first lots, not the condos, they don't have big properties, and a lot of the developers lately have not been putting in large properties, but anyone that has an older property now can put 2 buildings, living quarters on that property. What is the city doing in terms of how you're handling that? What you're doing in terms of making sure that this doesn't create a bigger problem than we've ever had? And number 2, my big question is, in the newspaper, I have seen now redistricting plans for this whole area. And I see that the Menifee redistricting will concern the southeast corner of Menifee. And there are 4 different plans here. I just would like to know, and many of us might, which of these plans is the city considering are going to be the best for Menifee? Thank you.
So the last 2 questions, one of them is, as you know, this is a Senate bill, and we, the city, expressed opposition to that proposal, and we work with our state agency, the League of California Cities, to express our concerns with that, the more housing. But as always, the state always tries to take a one-size-fits-all approach to all legislation. The problem is not necessarily with cities like us. The problem is with cities in coastal cities and more inner cities. That's the problem with housing, but they try to do a one-size-fits-all legislation that really doesn't apply to us. But it's a state law now, so we have to develop standards to do that. And Cheryl, you have anything to add when it comes to some of the things from a development standard perspective that we are doing to control that?
So as Armando said, good afternoon. I'm Cheryl Kitzrow, the Community Development Director. We do have to comply with the state law. So the planning staff is analyzing all of the state law that was recently signed into legislation to identify areas in which we are required to update our codes. We do, for all residential projects, include design review so that we can ensure any proposed development is of a quality and compatible with the adjacent area, but in terms of the number of units and the urban lot splits that SB 9 allows for, we are required to comply.
Yep. So there's very little we can do now because it is a state law now, but we continue to work with the League of Cities to try to come up with some mitigating legislation so they can see that we have to do something. This is going to be devastating for a lot of cities to be able to deal with the impacts of parking, for example, deal with the impacts of infrastructure, water, sewer. You're going to double the capacity of some of those water and sewer lines. So eventually here, hopefully in the next couple of years, we can develop some balancing or mitigating legislation that will allow us to protect ourselves more as a city. So we'll be working with our city council.
Water, this is going to involve electricity, and this is going to involve sewers.
Right, correct. And then the second question is, as you know, the redistricting is part of the census process. Every 10 years, as the census changes, so may the districts. And I say may because in most cases, cities don't grow that much. But in our case, our city has grown a lot, and some areas of our city have grown more than others. And our city clerk has been working with our consultant Sarah, do we have anything to add of where we are today with the process and the meetings that we had so far with the community on that?
So we are in the early stages of the redistricting process. We have set up a website, cityofmenifee.us/redistricting, and it will have all of the meetings throughout the community that we are setting up to get some community engagement, give us some feedback on your community and what you would like to see. So at the next scheduled meeting will be at the City Council meeting on November 3rd. Our consultants will be there, and they'll explain a mapping tool that will be online for residents to use to kind of get an idea of what you would like to see as far as districts go. So that'll be the next meeting we have, and then many more. We're actually going to go out to each district and schedule something so we hit every part of the city so that everybody can give their feedback.
Thank you, Sarah. So the ultimate desired output would be designed through public participation, which we still will have. There'll be several meetings between now and March of next year. And I think, Sarah, we have to have something in place by April. I want to say April.
Yes, by mid-April, we have to have the new map adopted.
Right.
So that it's in place for the next municipal election in November of next year.
So if you ask us what is our preference, we don't know yet because we haven't had the opportunity to meet with the public and engage the public on desires and requirements, for example. So it's not just based on population, it's based on other factors. So we have to go through that process during the meetings. Thank you.
Okay.
You don't have another school district question, do you? I think she was next and then you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dolores, and you just said that we're a fast-growing community or city. So my first question is, how much rural community or area is the city planning to leave intact? And secondly, what are you doing with the restaurant that closed on Bradley and Mccall? Coco's.
Okay. Our economic development director may have some on that restaurant.
This is my favorite question. So we actually had a tenant, and our job is to connect tenants and developers, right? We actually have a tenant that connected with the ownership 2 weeks after they closed, and that was COVID related, believe it or not. It wasn't because I know there's this rumor out there about the raised rent and so forth. That was not the case. They actually exited. They had a lease extension and they decided not to renew it corporate wise, but they haven't been paying for quite some time. So there's a tenant that is in tow, and it kind of died down a little bit. And I think the ownership was waiting to see what other possible tenants that were there. But I already knew it in my heart that this was the one. And so they're back, they rekindled, and they're on the last term or last round of lease negotiations. So we hope that they're going to announce rather soon for you, but it'll be exciting.
Is that like Cracker Barrel?
It's not Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel hasn't been as aggressive as everyone has been aggressive for. But it's not for a lack of not communicating. I've talked to Vic very regularly, their real estate director. So that one's still on the short list. So hopefully somewhere.
Cracker Barrel is good income for our city.
They're all sit-down restaurants are.
So all the rest, but I want to make sure we understand. The city we don't get involved in who the tenant is. We connect them. Where we get involved is when they apply for building permits to construct improvements to the restaurant. But I want to make sure we don't get involved in the restaurant type.
Okay. And the first question?
Can you remind me? Okay, so that I would have to get back to you, but we do have a what we call a general plan. Carrie, you ready for that? Okay.
I don't have an exact percentage, but our general plan that was adopted back in 2013 after the city incorporated identified areas of the city for different levels of development and different intensities. And as part of that general plan, there are areas in the northwest or northeast of the city and then the southeast and southwest that were designated for more of the larger lots. We don't have any rural agricultural areas designated in the city, but those larger lots, there are areas in the city where we do anticipate that those will remain.
Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez over there.
Yeah, I want to know how this new thing is going to affect the city of Sun City, community of Sun City, because if they're going to make any alterations to the city, as an engineer, I could see it cost our community, Sun City community, I could see it costing the city a lot more to modify and do all these changes to the city. But left intact, it would save the city a lot of money.
I'm sorry, what, SB9?
Okay, you know, they're talking, like the lady was talking about, you know.
SB9, yeah.
Yeah, SB9.
So
okay.
again, the city is not pushing for this.
No.
This legislation would allow you as a homeowner to be able to split your house into two or create more housing. But it's up to the individual homeowner to do, and the SB9 allows, this is a state law that will allow you to do that. We are not forcing anybody to do that. We have other means to support housing in our housing element process, which is ongoing. But in terms of SB9, we made it clear to the state that we are opposed to that one-size-fits-all legislation. It doesn't work for us as a city.
Right. And if Sun City was exempt from it, it would save the city a lot of money. Because if people start putting more houses, that means you're going to have to enlarge the sewer system, the water system, the electric system. All of these are going to cause trenches on the roads. You know, it's going to cost the city a lot of money to alter Sun City. But left as it is, Sun City is already a city. It's already a developed city. So if they start making changes, it's going to end up costing the city buku loads of bucks.
Correct.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and we want to leave time for John to address the question that also came in online, and then leave time for a roundtable for other announcements. Oh.
Her as well. We'll take this
two more?
and then her.
Okay.
Thank you. I'd like to know what happened to Crime Watch.
Yeah, really. They don't come around Sun City no more.
Yeah.
Crime Watch was a nonprofit being run out of the sheriff's department, and so when we took over as your police department, they made a decision as a board to fold and then reconstitute as Menifee police volunteers. So we have a couple gentlemen that want to do it again, and so we're going to put them through some driving training. We have a couple cars, and so Crime Watch, the term Crime Watch is gone. But you'll see Menifee police volunteer car, same concept, pretty much, and we're going to focus it in the core area of Sun City. And we're going to do a little more than just the parks. We're going to do vacation checks and that kind of stuff. So we will reconstitute that as soon as we get those volunteers trained to drive.
Thank you.
Does the city have a relationship with the hospital? Because I'm hearing from people that they're requiring like testing or vaccination cards to get in. So I'm wondering if you have any input on that. And I thought Obamacare took care of that you wouldn't be turned away.
I'm not sure I understand your question. We do have a relationship with the hospitals, but when it comes to the issue of mandated vaccines, is that what I'm hearing?
Well, from what I heard from a friend was that she was trying to take someone in and he needed somebody that needed to be with him. And they were telling
at the
her,
hospital, at the hospital.
yeah, they were telling her that you either have to provide us with a clean COVID test or you have to have a vaccination, proof of vaccination just to get in.
I'm not aware of that, and we wouldn't be able to control how the hospital operates. Yeah.
So the city doesn't have any input as
No.
far as what the hospitals are doing? There's no,
They're very much controlled by the Department of Health countywide, and then obviously the state Department of Health.
okay, so I could go to the county?
Yep.
Ask them.
Okay. One more.
Okay, one more. We'll sneak it in.
Yes, the gentleman over there with all the wonderful questions, one of his questions that was not addressed was about not paying property taxes for schools if you live in Sun City. Correct?
Yeah, I believe Mr. Villa said we're gonna research that one and
Oh,
get back
I'm
to him.
sorry, I missed that.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to look at how the county, on your property taxes is and where those monies goes. But I'm not sure that I have all the information to you, but we got your name and we can get your name to give you that answer. And if anyone else wants an answer, we can take down your name.
Okay.
Been 10 years so far, still waiting.
Well, we definitely, there was one question, a few questions that came online ahead or were emailed ahead. I believe we addressed almost all of them. There was one more question about annexation of the valley-wide parks. Is that still a city goal? The answer is yes. The city council let us know that that is still of interest for the city to do, so we are still working on that. And we'll probably be coming back to the city council as we do the refresh of the master plan with a new plan on moving forward with that. So stay tuned for that one. As I mentioned at the beginning, we did want to, since we do have some of our nonprofit partners here, we did want to provide a little bit of time. We got about 7-8 minutes. If there's anyone that wants to make any other announcements about any upcoming positive things happening in the city of Menifee, now's your time. Okay. Raven, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Raven Hilden. I'm the CEO of milvet.org, Military and Veteran Support Services. We support our military and veteran families all year long. We have a lot of different programs, and in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of keep it short. But we do a military care package program every month. We invite the community to come join us for the packing. And also, if you would like to donate anything for the packages or holiday cards or a letter of encouragement, which they could really use right now, we have a drop-off location at the hardware store over on Newport, Caltree Value. And then also, I just really quick wanted to share, we have a lot of different events coming up, but in Menifee, we have our Holidays for Heroes program. This is to support children of military families, whether they've lost a loved one is deployed, or they're just struggling or having different hardships. So if you would like to nominate a family, you can go to milvet.org/Santa. If you'd like to get involved and help volunteer with that, that's going to be at the Cherry Hills Golf Course on December 18th. And then also, if you would like to nominate somebody or sign them up for our military care packages, if you know somebody that's deployed, you can do that as well. So our website is milvet.org. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a complete list of all of our upcoming programs.
Thank you, Raven. There was questions about volunteering. There's your opportunity right there. Thank you very much, Raven. Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you. My name is Gloria Sanchez, and I'm Vice Chair of the Menifee Interfaith and Community Service Council. I just want to announce that we have our upcoming Thanksgiving free meals for Menifee, and it's held on Thanksgiving Day. I think we have some flyers back there. We have 3 seatings. We want to get the word out that anyone needing a meal on that day is welcome to come to the Senior Center. Reservations are necessary. We have 3 seatings, and first responders will be allowed to come in any time of the day. So please get the word out to all the seniors or anyone, a family who needs a meal. The other thing we have, I'm wearing another hat as the chair of the Menifee Senior Advisory Committee. We have just put together a senior resource guide that will be coming out in print for all of our seniors with very good detailed information on different organizations that can help you with any services you may need. Thank you.
Gloria, Thanksgiving meals on Thanksgiving Day in this room. Very good, thank you. Debbie?
Debbie Mannion with Rotary and Santa's Workshop. We're still having the Santa's Workshop program this year. We service about 1,000 underprivileged children. The families are screened through the Menifee Community Cupboard. We still need to, we put boxes in any businesses or anywhere that can take a box to collect toys. So if anybody has availability to collect toys, there is a flyer in the back, and she's going to put it in the email out as well. And we also need volunteers. The event is December 18th. The setup is December 17th. And we would take any help that we can get to get these kids all taken care of. So thank you.
Another great volunteer opportunity. Thank you, Debbie. Anybody else? Another announcement of upcoming activities within our nonprofit groups? Yes, ma'am.
I have an announcement. My interest in Garbani is that there is a new religious community. It's a Catholic religious community called our La Salette Marian Prayer Community. And we have for the past year or so, we have what is called as a healing mountain. And if you need prayers for healing, that is the place to go. That's why I'm interested in having a Garbani street be paved at least. And usually the most effective day would be the first Saturday of each month at 9 o'clock. It is, can't remember the number of the house. It has a house, and then you can go up the hill for healing prayers. And from the end of Bradley Road, you make a left, and it is the third house. And it is gated so that no trespassers can just go in. Every first Saturday of the month, but any day you may ask for healing.
Thank you for sharing. One more quick commercial on the city. So we have, as we continue this community outreach, we actually have another community outreach meeting this Thursday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. It's at the Mott Historical Cafe/Museum, Car Museum. That looks like cafe. Okay, Car Museum. That's me. I can't. It's not Imelda's writing. It's me not being able to read. Car Museum. It's this Thursday, and it's regarding. We get federal funds. The federal funds are called Community Development Block Grants (CDBG). So this is your opportunity to participate and give us input on how we spend those federal funds locally here in the city. And if you're not able to make the meeting, see this flyer. There is a survey online that you can do and provide your input on how we allocate this funding in the city. So please participate in that. One more announcement. We'll wrap it up. Microphone's running behind you.
Been making phone calls. Manisha Jones, our executive director, has tasked me with making the phone calls and reaching out to retailers and businesses for a business academy, which is going to be starting up on October 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. If anyone wants to participate in this, there's actually going to be a certification at the end of it. I probably have about 30 businesses signed up so far. And this is just the beginning of what we're trying to do to make Menifee a safer place. Please just get in touch with me, and I will get your information and get you and sign you up for the program.
So can I say something? I just want to tell you how excited I am to see all of you here today. I think this is probably by far the most successful chat with the city managers that we've had. And I want to remind you, this is not your only opportunity to connect with us. You can always visit City Hall and make an appointment, talk to me, talk to any one of our directors. You can always go to our city council meetings, Mayor, and our planning commission meetings. So there's ways to engage. We want to hear from you, and you know, we're at the same time required to have public meetings. We want to have more community meetings so that we hear from you. As we begin to grow over 100,000 in population, it's getting a little more difficult to get in touch with you. So that's why we have these meetings, have these community engagements. So I would encourage you to talk to your neighbors, talk to anybody you know, to get engaged. Come to these meetings, because I really like hearing, you know, your comments, not the school district comments, but your comments about things that we might be missing. You know, we get really busy on larger projects, and sometimes we miss things that you notice. So I want to hear from you about those things. We did get a lot of good comments today, so I'm very happy, and I want to thank you for being here. Mayor, would you like to say some words? Okay. Yep.
Before we hand it back to the mayor, I just want to thank Community Services staff and Sandals Church for their assistance with the AV. So thank you.
So good morning, you guys. Thank you all for being here. The fact that you're here shows that you care, and it means a lot to us. So thank you all for being here. I did want to say we get a lot of phone calls to City Hall about things like I see a pothole, or I see graffiti, or I see a homeless person. I get a lot of emails, and they say, Mayor, here's all the information. The best way that you can get that information directly to the people, our code enforcement folks and all them, the public works that's going to fix the potholes, is if you have a smartphone. We have an app on our phone, and you can download that. I ask all of you when you get home, if you haven't done so, look it up. Go to the App Store and type in City of Menifee. You'll see it right there. And you'll see on that app, it says report an issue. You can easily do that, and if you're at the location, you can take a picture of the graffiti or whatever it is, and it really helps our team. It goes straight to them, and it cuts the middleman out of it. So I wanted to encourage you guys, if you have the ability, please do so. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Armando, for taking your time to connect with the community too. I appreciate it.
Thank you for everyone for coming. There's still coffee and bagels, a few snacks in the back. And if you have any other follow-up questions with our staff, we'll make ourselves available for a few more minutes. So thank you once again.